What's the biggest problem in modern college football today? Personally, I think that it's conference realignment and the way the entire ranking system works. I mean, hell, Kansas, a team that is allowed to stay in a Power 5 conference, and they get rewarded for being absolutely terrible at the game of football. Yeah, they're a great basketball program, so I understand why they're in the Big 12, but they suck at football. Their only good season in the past decade has been with a fucking asshole. And also, they've had one good season. And all those other years, they've won like 3 games in the past 5 years? They refuse to try to be good at the game of football. Yet, they get rewarded because they play in the Big 12. When they even do semi-good, they go to an amazing bowl game. But UCF, who won 27 games in a row, don't even get mentioned in the first 2 out of the college football playoffs? And everyone's saying they don't deserve this, they don't deserve that. But if you look at just another sport that runs on a similar system, the basketball, NCAA college basketball, runs with a committee that selects the top 68 teams, and they go and they play a tournament. And a couple years back, if you remember, a team that's not a major conference, called Wichita State, went undefeated after making it to the Final Four, and they got the number 1 overall seed. And maybe some people complained, but they still got recognition from the committee. However, UCF, who went undefeated, won their BCS bowl game, then went undefeated again, don't even get mentioned in the bottom 2 outside of the playoffs? How do I think I can fix all this? A tier system. Hey guys, it's Cyclone Mamba here, and today I'll be showing you how I'm going to be setting up my NCAA 14 tier Teambuilder system. I got some inspiration from some of the guys linked in the description below. I looked at their videos and their series that I've seen over the years, and I took inspiration from it and kind of put a little twist of it of my own. So if you want to check those guys out, they definitely deserve some of the credit for the series, and I hope you give them a little look. Thank you. The tier system that I will be running looks a little bit like this. The college football world was split into 5 tiers, each tier having 2 conferences. Each tier has a different set amount of teams, and each tier also has an insane difference of difficulty. Tier 5 is filled with all the bums of the college football world. However, Tier 1 is filled with all the top dogs. In Tier 6 to 2, making it to your conference championship game means that you get to go up to the next tier. But in all the tiers, including 1, failing to not be in the bottom 2 means you drop down to the lower tier. Conferences in each tier will be randomized at the beginning of each season. The winner of the national championship in college football will be decided by a 16-team playoff with a little bit of a twist. So the way this entire thing works is the bottom bracket is for the tier 5 teams get to be in the playoff as well. And they will be put in the at-large bracket with the 6 other highest ranked champions or non-conference champions. And then they will play in this 8-team bracket. And then if you win your 4-team bracket, essentially you don't play the last game. So the top 2 teams in this bracket then move up to the at-large bracket, or the 10-team bracket above it, where you can see all the logos are where the conference champion of that conference go. And then they'll play that, and then the winner of that bracket wins the championship. That's how that works. And, the way the bracket could change in the future. That's just how it is right now. And so let's get into what teams are what conference, and then I'll introduce you to my Teambuilder team. Alright guys, so here we are looking at the conferences of this tier system. Now, we start off in Tier 5 in the conference that the Oxford Sharks will be joining, and that is the Sun Belt, one of the worst conferences in the country. Looking at some of these teams, the Oxford Land Sharks will be playing there. Look how bad we are, 63 overall. Sick. But in this conference, we see Florida Atlantic, Troy, Western Kentucky, Central Michigan, Tulane, New Mexico, Old Dominion, Oxford, and Ball State. Now they predict that Florida Atlantic will win the conference and Troy will be second. That's what they predict. We'll see how that is at the end of the season. In the other Tier 5 conference, we see Arkansas State predicted to win and UTSA to join them moving up a tier. With them in this conference is Kansas, Rutgers, Bowling Green, New Mexico State, Kent State, UTEP, and Texas State. In the Mountain West, out in Tier 4, BYU is projected to win, with Colorado State joining them, moving up to the next tier. With them in the conference is Temple, Toledo, Ohio, SMU, Wyoming, Akron, Louisiana, Nevada, Hawaii, San Jose State, East Carolina, Connecticut, and Georgia State. The other Tier 4 conference, we have UCF projected to win, with North Carolina projected to be second and move up to the third tier with them. Other teams in the conference include Louisiana Tech, Western Michigan, Miami, Ohio, Eastern Michigan, Marshall, Southern Mississippi, Illinois, Florida International, Rice, Middle Tennessee Tech, South Alabama, North Texas, and Louisiana Monroe. Moving up to Tier 3, we have the American Conference, where Mississippi State is projected to win it. Also with Kansas State coming in second, moving up to the next tier with them, projected. We get Boston College as well in this conference with Duke, Louisville, Houston, Nebraska, Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Maryland, Tulsa, Cincinnati, Air Force, and that is it. The other Tier 3 conference is projected to win by TCU in the Pac-12. The team that's projected to move with them is Virginia Tech. Also, we have Northwestern, Memphis, Missouri, San Diego State, Fresno State, Georgia Tech, Navy, Texas Tech, Virginia, UNLV, Buffalo, UAB, and that is it. Moving to Tier 2, in the Big 12, we got Miami, Stanford, USC, Oklahoma State, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Baylor, Colorado, UCLA, Oregon State, California, and Ole Miss. The teams that are projected to move on to the next tier are Miami and Stanford. In the Big 10, we have Wisconsin, Auburn, Oregon, Arizona, Northern Illinois, Tennessee, Indiana, Vanderbilt, Arizona State, Purdue, and Utah State, with the people projected to move on to the next tier being Wisconsin and Auburn. Now we move on to Tier 1. Clemson's projected to win the conference, with Notre Dame, Florida State, West Virginia, Texas, UCF, Utah, NC State, Iowa, Iowa State, Washington State, Army West Point, and Syracuse, with Syracuse and Army West Point projected to drop out of Tier 1. In the SEC, we got Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Oklahoma, Washington, Penn State, Michigan, Boise State, LSU, Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, with Arkansas and Kentucky projected to drop out of the Tier 1. Now that we got that out of the way, we can look at our own team, the Oxford Land Sharks. This team is hot garbage. Just look at this roster. Our best player is an 81 overall running back who's a freshman named Corey Borlois. Hopefully, 81 overall as a freshman, that's pretty big. Looking at some other players, we don't really have a whole lot here. We'll learn these. We'll get to know these players as the season goes along. But our center's looking nice. Our right tackle's not looking bad. You know, our outside linebackers aren't looking bad. Free safety's alright. Kicker, punter's not bad. You know, we got some people that are alright, but we're still really garbage. Looking at what we did with our skill trees at the very beginning of the season, I put it into this so I can scout some players, level 1, and then for our defensive coordinator, I did recharge so I can get people out in the field faster, and ball security for offense so we can not have as many turnovers as I expect we're going to have.